Welcome to the Running Channel podcast live from the ASICS store on Oxford Street. This is super exciting. We are so excited to be here in front of a live audience talking about a topic which is almost unavoidable in the running world at the moment.
Yeah, we're talking about how comparison and social media in particular might be stealing some of the well-being and ultimately the joy of running. And we think that that's what running's all about. So we're going to kind of talk about how we might be able to tackle that.
Yeah, and if this is the first time that you've seen us or heard us, I mean, welcome to the party. It'd be quite worrying if you guys have just turned up expecting it to be a live comedy club or something, but...
and disappointing.
And disappointed, yeah. But it's today we're going to be talking, about that. But we're all three very different runners. I mean, Andy apparently went to the Olympics a couple of times. He did all right at parkrun once. Sarah's run a sub 20-minute PB. What was that in? 5K. And I'm running a marathon. Have I told you?
Let's bring it back to you, the most important
We were
thing.
also going to introduce ourselves. What happened?
We were, but never mind. It's all right.
You know, it's not like us to go off script in the first 10 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. So finally as well, before we kick off into the main podcast, a big thank you to ASICS for hosting us tonight, for supporting the podcast. We've travelled all around the world with them to the Olympics and to the World Championships. And we're going to talk a little bit about how ASICS are championing mental well-being in running and how it's literally move your body to move your mind. So they're sponsoring this episode, but let's get stuck in.
You know what? First of all, I'd actually like to thank the local hotel because that's why we're sitting down right now. Because Meg, who works for the Running Channel, stole these 3 chairs from the bar of the local hotel.
True story about 15 minutes ago.
Actually, they're really comfy, aren't they?
Should we take them back with us?
They're great.
Honestly.
Meg, did you have to promise to take them back?
Yeah.
No, I reckon just chuck them in the van. But me and Rick have had quite the day today, haven't we?
I mean, we did an obstacle course in Cambridgeshire, and it's been a while since we've done anything like that, and we had to walk the plank. And
I don't think it's called. I've seen a video of this. I definitely don't think it's called walking the plank.
It's a big long. It's a
Like
big
a log across
but
deep water.
One log, with all the rain we've had recently, was a fair bit slippier than the other log, and I just got a bit cocky going across and thought, all right, I'll leg it. But that put off somebody I was next to.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still fuming about this. So you were so far ahead of me. We're doing all kinds of different obstacles. One of the obstacles we did was you had to get up and over a wall. My life flashed before my eyes. I spent what felt like years on this wall, frantically trying to get down. So you were ahead of me,
I got
crossing
to the top
this
of the wall
water.
with the amount of bird poo that was up there.
No
one had reached the top of the wall since October, because October in Britain, that was the last time it didn't rain.
But yeah, I fell in.
Yeah. It all got a bit...
Quite spectacularly.
Fully submerged into water, which must have been sat there for years.
Yeah, I mean, there were worms in it, and Sarah was in it. Sarah was deep
we
in
got
it.
to the next obstacle. I looked down at my shorts and was like, "Oh, what's that red? I've never seen a red worm before."
Yeah, it wasn't too.
So if this is the last time you see me and Rick, you'll know
you've got
what's
some kind of horrible
Sarah's
waterborne
got
disease.
It was the oddest place because we were there doing this obstacle course, but next door to it was a caravan trailer park for film sets, and you just kept on seeing all these kind of big, like, American film set drivers taking all these massive caravans to different sets around Cambridgeshire and the south of England. And it got me thinking about the time when I was on a film.
Settle in.
Have I told you about when I was...
Well, I've got a feeling you're about to, but before you do, we should let people in on a little secret, because in a recent podcast, you were complaining to me and Sarah when there was a section where you said, I haven't spoken for 12 minutes. You were so cross.
So we have this little clock which is down here, like stuck on a shelf that we can see, and I did clock it. I can't remember what we were talking about. It was something quite technical.
Exactly. He just couldn't get involved.
What was it?
It was genetics in running performance.
Oh yeah.
And Rick
wasn't my best topic.
Rick was just zoned out. You were like, yeah, I have genes.
Leave that.
That's all I can bring to this conversation.
Anyway, this film,
Sorry, you were in a film. So how were you starring?
When I was at uni,
last year.
Well, last year.
Recent, yeah.
When I was at uni, I had this weird job for this casting agency, and they put me in as an extra in films that were being shot in Liverpool. And one summer, they asked me to be in this film called The Revenger's Tragedy, which had Christopher Eccleston in it. He used to be in Doctor Who. So we've had a night out, we're all a bit blurry-eyed, and we're watching this film, and everyone's going, God, this is weird, the opening of this film. And I sat there and went, pretty sure I get killed in the opening scene.
So you've got the Sean Bean role.
Yeah. And I was killed by Christopher Eccleston in the opening scene.
Really?
The Revenger's Tragedy.
How have you never talked about this before?
It just never came to light. I'd never been to an obstacle course in Cambridgeshire, and it reminded me of it.
It's also, a live audience for you is incredibly dangerous because even just the body language, it's become like an evening with Rick Kelsey. Like it's a very...
It is. Are we just doing a recap of your best moments?
You had your moment, yeah?
Well, I've had my moments in the last couple of hours because a few hours ago, or not even that, this was obviously a fully functioning store selling stuff to the members of the public. And we have video evidence from one of our lovely audience here, actually, who I was chatting to upstairs, who arrived and was chatting to me going, it really is true, Rick doesn't do anything. And there is video evidence. I think maybe we should put this on social media, or at the very least in the club, of me frantically sweeping everywhere with a broom. Sarah's trying to get stuff ready. The team have gone out to the local hotel to secure chairs for you to sit on.
Did you go to the hotel and just get a drink?
No, he was no.
I look around because there was nowhere to sit.
Every time I look around, he's got a different pair of shoes in his hand, just casually browsing the shop.
I asked him to help me put bags in the van, and he did one loaded with me, and then just wandered back into here.
Yeah.
Done it once.
You finished.
Well, he's a movie star.
Here's
remember
my notes, loads of notes that I made today. Andy, what are your notes doing? What?
My notes.
Here's mine.
My notes are strong.
Andy's got it all.
Lots of prep.
Here.
Lots of prep.
In fairness, your notes looks like your
Well,
like your children
of
wrote
prep,
them.
should we talk about your marathon training?
Oh,
How are your notes
Sarah.
on that
Bit
going?
harsh.
That was a low blow, wasn't
that was
it?
a low blow.
How's it going, mate? You feeling good for it?
Oh, we're kind of around we're almost midway there, aren't we? You just get through it. You turn up, you do your 3 runs a week, you smash it out, and you just hope for the best on race day.
Yeah. What did you say about your run today? In the obstacle course. How was it?
Oh, you recorded it?
Sure.
You recorded it, didn't you? Does that count as one of your 3?
It was 12 minutes of the obstacle course today.
And how far did you run?
I think we should move on to the topic.
I actually do want to point out something else as well. We were putting in an order for various sports nutrition and taking things very seriously because you are training for a marathon.
Yeah.
And obviously,
Generally don't know where this is going.
Well, we were ordering gels. Most of the team, like people who are running for marathons, were ordering some gels, just doing a big bulk order at Sensible. I looked down the list of the stuff that people have, because you go on the website, choose the things that you want, and there's just a little 1 next to 1 supplement. No one else in the team had ordered this thing. Collagen.
Just for anyone who might not be...
You just wanted 1 pack of gels and collagen.
Yeah.
What does collagen do for you?
It just keeps your face plump, doesn't it? Don't worry about the running. You got to be in this for the
Do you know, I honestly think you're doing more prep for the race day photos than you are for the actual run itself. Making sure you're not on a down step.
Right.
Practicing the smile. Let's just do a quick test now, just for our visual viewers. Imagine you're coming over Tower Bridge. They're there. The lens is pointing at you. Face up. What face are you pulling? Oh, really?
Oh, you want to look like you're trying? the perception of effort, I would say. That personifies Rick Kelsey.
For any of our listeners, I feel like we just need to describe that. So Rick's face didn't move due to the Botox, but hopefully by 20 miles in, you might get a little eyebrow twitch.
That was actually the point when I last ran the marathon in 1066. That I got through. I was like, I want to start walking now. But the crowds were obviously amazing at that point. I stopped just after that.
Take it in.
Started walking just after that.
Quiet
do you know?
moment.
I think so many people do, but that is often the moment that you see when someone does run a marathon. You see that like beautiful smiling, crossing like an iconic bit halfway through. Then it starts to get really tricky, and I think that is a big reason why chasing a PB might be ruining our mental well-being. That's a good segue, wasn't it?
Oh, there's a little murmur of appreciation. Then we don't normally get that.
We should have a live audience more often.
That
was good.
Yeah. I think they're generous in their praise.
Yeah, they are. Anyway, but I wanted to talk about this because we are spring marathon season, or just spring racing season, is right around the corner. And for so many people, that is a really exciting time. But actually, for a lot of us, I feel like it's slightly terrifying too.
Yeah, and we have a weird relationship with this because we're talking about, I guess, comparison, setting personal goals, trying to set a personal best, but also then what you see on social media and the extra pressure that might put on you, or what you see your friends do, or whatever that might be. And we play a part in that because we're creating content about running. But then we're also on the other end of it because it adds extra pressure knowing that we're all going to be filmed whenever we go and take on a marathon. So that'll be good for you, Rick. You'll enjoy the extra pressure.
You love pressure.
Yeah, he actually loves cameras. So
Born motivated.
I do get it though, because for a lot of people, they've built up to marathon day. It's massive. They've been training for it for weeks, months. Everything comes down to it, and it's not just whether you think that you've done your training right, but it's a new set of nerves, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's just you're have to. I think that the key for me is remembering that no one's putting more pressure on me than myself, and actually most of the stuff that you experience is entirely self-inflicted, so it doesn't really matter.
Would you say that, because you've experienced both ends of the spectrum, like pre, Stone Age times when there weren't TV and screens?
Yes, they carved my results into slate tablets to be passed around the Olympic Village. Yeah.
When you were at the Olympics, did you feel more pressure or less pressure than you do now going into like a marathon or a big race with the audience that we have, knowing that people know what you're going to try and do?
It's a different kind of pressure. Like you're much more, this is a more personal kind of pressure, I think, weirdly. Like I've met lots of people that watch the videos. I get to meet you guys tonight, and people come and meet us at the National Running Show or other events. And so it's lovely to hear and speak about the fact that people are following your journey. And as a pro, arguably pre most of social media, like I didn't have that direct connection with people. So you have the pressure of imagining that everyone at home is watching, and that you don't want to let your family down and your coach, and you've spent 4 years being incredibly selfish for this thing. And then there's 80,000 people in the stadium. It's just a really different kind of pressure. It
also, when you're working at an elite level, there's obviously like a slight, okay, this person might be better than me, or this person might be better than me. But is that different to, because obviously now for the majority of us, we're working in a realm where like there is at least one person who's faster than us in the world, but yet comparison is still such a big thing.
Yeah, and where I think that comparison becomes tricky is like Strava and stuff. You see that, and you don't have the context of all the other stuff that person's doing, so you don't get to see. So Strava's one thing, so you get to see the times and the end result and the route that they've done, but you obviously don't know what training they've done for the last 10 years or even the last 10 weeks. So it's sort of not really very relevant. But then, like what we're trying to do on Instagram and YouTube and whatever is like show when you actually. Both of us, Sarah and I, have failed fairly spectacularly at the goals we set out to run, and then we haven't sort of shelved that video and not put it out. We've shown the fact that it
was a really enjoyable watch.
Rude.
Yeah.
So rude. Do you know what I realised the other day, actually? When I started training for London in 2024, I think I said in a video I was going to try and get close to 3:30.
Yes, you did.
What an idiot. What an idiot. Yeah. But I do feel like that's what happens is like at the start of a training block, you go like, oh, this is exciting. Like 2 years on, I'm training for a marathon. I'm still chasing that number.
Yeah.
But I think that's where I think running becomes really hard, because you attach so much pressure to a number. You have no idea how 12, 14, if you're Rick, 30, some people, how your training block's going to go. And then you turn up at race day potentially still with those expectations that you had when you booked the race or formed the plan.
I just wondered, don't we frame pressure in the wrong context? It's like pressure's a good thing because it means that we care about something.
Diamonds can only be made under pressure.
Yeah, well, we know we're going to do it. So we are bigging ourselves up. We are really excited about this big day that's going to come, and we've worked towards it. We've trained for it. So the fact that we care about it, the pressure can be enjoyable, and you've got to use that, haven't you?
That is true. And I heard a great quote once that was something along the lines of, anxiety is excitement without breathing, or something along those lines. But I think there's a tipping point though, where pressure suddenly goes from being like, oh, I'm really excited. I've trained really hard for this. I can't wait to see how this goes. To, I'm shaking like a leaf. This is the worst day of my life. I don't want to do it.
And nerves and excitement, I think, are the same hormonal response, just framed differently. I could have that wrong. I didn't have any notes written down. So, so yeah, I think it's Rick's right about the pressure on the day, but then you have worked really hard just to have the opportunity to be on the start line. It doesn't have to be a marathon, 5K, 10K, if you're working towards trying to run a personal best time. But I guess our point and what we're trying to talk about today is almost like my biggest learning when I was a pro athlete was that when I was enjoying it, I ran better and I ran faster, as opposed to when I was like really, really focused and so hell-bent on kind of chasing the time. And actually also, it's a slightly different situation, I'll admit. Like, I was competing to try to win races.
Yeah.
But when I was just competing, I also ran better, as opposed to when I was fixated on the times I was trying to run. And quite often I had to be fixated on the time, because if you don't hit a qualifying time, you don't get picked for a team, or you don't qualify for the trials or the Olympics themselves. And without that, you can't be on the plane to go. But I think almost all of the times I ran a qualifying time was when I was just, oh, screw that, I'm just going to race and I'm going to try and beat these guys.
How much would that have affected you if we had kind of social media PB culture that we've got now, Andy? Because obviously, I'm not dissing you. You did only retire in 2017. But
yeah,
like,
there was social media by then.
But then there was social media, exactly. Yeah. But, you know, I mean, you get it. You must get it probably more as well, Sarah, like just seeing PBs constantly and wanting to chase them.
I also think like we're all in such an echo chamber of like, I personally only follow people on social media who are like just out of reach.
Yeah.
And like, we're not following every single
You
run.
only follow people on social media who are just out of reach.
Yeah, the majority of people, as in like now that...
So you don't follow Rick?
You don't...
Look, he's out of reach in other ways. In other ways. I follow you on
Obstacle course
Strava.
age. Yeah.
I didn't hear that. You got away with that one. No, as in like in the way that you see the people who you look at their content the most, or like you interact with the most. I feel like most of the time I'm looking at people who, like even people in the running channel office. Turns out if you work for the running channel, you quite like running and you end up to be quite good at it.
Yeah.
So like I am by no means the fastest in the office. So a lot of the time I look at like other people in the office running and I'm like,
Yeah, every lunchtime.
They're
I just
quite
don't. I just
fast.
don't run.
see, there's nothing to follow.
yeah.
There's no running content.
There's
They're all
no
too
running
fast.
content
Just
there.
stay clear of it.
But then I think then you end up in a cycle of being like, oh, I'm the worst person ever because I'm not as fast as all of these people that I'm looking at. But actually, I always come back to, isn't there some stat where the average park run finish time every year is still getting slower?
It definitely was, yeah, because they would publicise it.
So like
coming
if
into
you're
it, yeah.
training and you're getting faster, I think sometimes we need to zoom out and actually think of like the other thousands of people who are running, if you care about comparison so much. But equally, if you're improving, then you should enjoy it. However, is getting a PB the thing that you enjoy the most?
I mean, it's nice, isn't it?
It is good.
It is nice.
It's a nice shiny feeling.
But I think you can't chase it all the time. That's kind of our point. And social media also, like, if you put yourself in the position of someone who is a social media creator, like on their own, they're also in a slightly weird position too. Like they've got to make content about running and talk about running all the time. And obviously they get, people get sort of a bit of stick for this, but they get offered cool opportunities to go and do cool stuff. And then that means that they're probably running more than they might do anyway.
But then some of them tip into it from being social media, stars.
Yeah.
Some of them then tip into actually the pro world, don't they? We've seen that recently.
With Philly Bowden, for example.
Bowden,
yeah, she's very close to the pro ranks, definitely running at that level, top 10 all time, yeah, for sure.
And what's that bloke who your mate, Owen, who won
Hugo Fry.
He won
doesn't
Hackney
stop
Half.
banging on about him, honestly. Owen's
love-
girlfriend's in the audience tonight. Watch out for Hugo.
What a segue.
Oh, did I say that too soon?
Sorry, Owen. We tried to stay on topic.
Yeah.
Oh, he's so embarrassed.
Let's talk
I'm embarrassed on his behalf.
Maybe we should stick on this a little bit longer.
He's winding.
Yeah. Is this going to make the edit?
Right, let's talk about process goals versus outcome goals. So the process, basically,
You have what are you doing? You have no idea where you're going with this.
I've got a card. It says it on it, Sarah.
Oh, right, sorry. Come on then, read it out.
Don't
and
give it away.
Then we'll segue to Andy for the actual truth.
Isn't that what we always do?
That is what we always do. 3
But
years
the
in.
process goals, though, we can nail these, can't we? Because we can stick to our training. We've got a plan. We can go out 3 times a week. We can nail our recovery. We can not run on the days we're not supposed to run. We can also sleep correctly. We can go to bed earlier. We can maybe not eat 3 hours before we go to bed. All these things can help, and if we nail them.
Yeah. So should we break down the difference between a process goal and an outcome goal? Because you have touched on some things, just not necessarily in the right order. Well, but that's fine, because we can expand on that. They do all work. Yeah. So this, for me, has...
Carry on. we'll just soldier on through it.
Yeah. So this, for me, has been the biggest shift in my running from finishing a marathon in 2024 and basically being like, I never want to do that ever again.
What, the process?
Yeah, because I was so fixated on the goal. All I cared about was the time, and I was so het up on hitting specific numbers. Now,
You're fixated on the process.
I'm fixated on the process, because if you set a process goal, if you finish and you've ticked off that goal, it's still a win of a day. And because with a specific PB target, it's literally 50-50. For every person who crosses the finish line happy, there'll be someone else who crosses the finish line upset.
I didn't really consider it a goal to tick. I mean, I see what you mean.
So for me,
the best bit about this,
tick off your training. So me ticking off.
No, that's not what I mean.
You don't think that's part of the process?
No, I do think that is a process. So for me, you just set a different one for a race. So for me, for Rotterdam, I'm going to have let's simplify it.
Yeah.
Not specifically for you.
I'm all ears. Come on.
I'm going to have 2 goals.
Go on.
I'm going to have one goal, which is a time goal, which as of yet I have not set, and probably won't set that until I get to the taper. Yeah. And then my second goal.
Will you tell us what it is when you've set it?
Yeah, because I feel like if you put it out there, if you smash it, it makes it the feeling even better. But then if you don't hit it, people are quite, our audience, lovely and friendly if I miss my goal, which I do all of the time.
You only do that when you're with me.
Yeah, exactly. So and actually, Andy's not coming to Rotterdam, so I might actually do it this time. Your
2 big ones, you did the Breaking 45, and I paced the last bit of that with you.
Yeah.
And
how did that go?
You didn't
45-12.
Yeah, sorry.
And then a few years later, we tried to hit 20 minutes, sub 20 minutes, 20-25. You got worse. And it was only half the distance.
Yeah.
Nothing to do with me.
It was me.
I was perfect.
Me that got worse.
And then I dropped you in a recent 5K.
That's true, actually.
So
that is a true story.
Yeah. If anyone's watched the 5K that I did in the snow, you'll notice Andy says, "Go on, go."
I think I was like, "This is all you.
This is all you." What was actually happening?
My hamstring was hurting.
I couldn't keep up.
I couldn't keep up. I had done a film.
Yeah, all right. You'd run a 17-minute 5K about 20 minutes before, but let's not talk about that.
You should be able to do that.
I also enjoyed this interaction, by the way, when we started this conversation about process goals and outcome goals and all that sort of stuff, where Rick looked at you like, "Oh my goodness, this is interesting." We talk about it all the time.
We talk about it all the time. So process
when
goals.
You're doing it though, it's different because you look at every kind of minute detail. I'm looking at details now that I certainly was not looking at 3 months ago. And you're thinking, well, actually, how could that help the process of me achieving my overall goal? I'm
fascinated actually. Just now, let's dive into this.
Okay. What
details have you been obsessing over for the marathon? I'd love to know this.
Absolutely, nutrition.
The collagen.
I've definitely changed. There's a nutritionist that we've talked about quite a lot before, Sean Seckham, we had on, and I've spoken to her a few times. Definitely changed the times that I eat and when I eat, especially at the end of the day. I'm really trying, something that Sean's been talking about with a lot of her runners actually, not to eat for this 3-hour period before bed, just because it plays onto your sleep and how you can train the next day.
Oh, I always eat right before bed.
And especially with...
I eat in bed. Is that bad?
That's quite bad, yeah.
That is bad.
Do you want to know...
It depends what you're eating. You've said it now.
Do you want to dive into it?
What are you eating in bed?
Well, as always, I like to set a perfect example of how to be a top athlete. So whilst doing the process goal stuff, I live very near a Costco. And Tom loves buying stuff in bulk. So recently he went to Costco and he bought a bulk set of miniature snacks. So I'm talking...
What, like you'd get on an airplane
Diddy Jammy Dodgers.
Yeah.
Diddy party rings.
You eat that in bed?
Yeah, I'll take up a little packet of party rings.
How old are you?
I'm so unashamed by that.
Crumbs everywhere.
Well, so the other issue that I'm facing at the
Take a
moment
little bib.
is because it's very wet in the UK at the moment, and Herbert's daycare have started charging
So you got a
to
wet
wash
bed
him
full of
down
crumbs and a dog.
and mud. Yeah.
Oh my God.
If I can't be bothered to give him a bath when he gets home from daycare and he turns more brown than he already is, then yeah, our bed's just
no
a
wonder
little bit
Tom's gone
crusty.
to Chile for 3 weeks. He actually has.
I'm living in, yeah.
You scared him up the world's highest volcano.
And Tim Tams. That's the other thing that's in this little box.
Anyway, you two, back on track.
I mean, I could.
Time outs. Is that what it's called?
Time out. It's
Time
delicious.
outs,
That's
yeah, good.
not a delicious, but
Had
not
one
a
of them
delicious
last
bedtime
night.
snack, I wouldn't say.
Look, sometimes.
I think we could do a whole podcast on this.
I don't actually feel like we've let Andy speak much about
Sorry.
in this podcast.
Right, do you want to talk about your actual process goals and how you attack it as opposed to Rick's?
Good question. Did we define the distinction being that a process goal is where you can feel like you've achieved it if you've essentially ticked that stuff off your to-do list?
Yeah, so it's just anything that isn't an outcome. So a PB might be an outcome, whereas a process is I'm going to work hard in this race. So I'm going to work hard in Rotterdam, and if I feel like at the end I've worked hard, it's slightly more subjective, but it's something you can constantly check in with yourself with it as well.
The big one for me is that it gets hard in any race. It's hard early in a 5K. It's hard in the middle of a marathon. It's hard the whole half marathon I did was hard.
Hard working with Rick.
Yes.
But
on the days
your
you
process
work.
goals
I
are
have
not
to-
just during the race, though. Your process goals are getting there as well.
Yeah, but I'm allowed to talk about the race, right?
Yeah,
This is
no,
a
far
process
away,
goal
go
for me.
with it.
We can have an argument.
It's so challenging doing it with him, isn't it? The big one for me during a race is that when it gets hard, the process goal that I'm focused on is how I react in that moment. So it's the whole point of 16 weeks of training for the marathon or whatever you've been doing, or a whole year building up to something, or 4 years for the Olympics. I have to be ready that when it gets hard, not to, and it's in the 1500 meters, you had no time. So if I decide for 1 second to relax, then I've lost the race probably. You have a bit more time in a longer race. But the point being, it has to be almost like a subconscious thing that happens where when it gets hard, you've decided how you're going to treat it in that moment. And that's one of my process goals. So even if I don't hit the time, if at the end I'm like, every time it got hard, I did what I'd practiced. And that might be that I focused on my breathing, or I took a gel, or whatever I decided I was going to do in that moment, or I've reframed it in my head and I've visualized what it's going to feel like when it's really hard. That's my process goal of like coming to the end of the whole race. I'm like, yeah, didn't do the time, but absolutely smashed it and I couldn't have done anything else.
Because the thing as well is that there are so many things that can be outside of your control when it comes to, like, you're going to have a great time, but it could be too hot. Like it could be, that's where I think actually sometimes being an elite is slightly easier, because you can win the race and not get a PB, and as an elite you still smashed it. Whereas like sometimes for the rest of us, we assign the success of the race to a number, and then there are loads of things that are outside of your control. When I did my first half marathon, they shut off part of the course because there was a car parked there that they couldn't move and it was too much of a security risk, so they cut it off. I literally couldn't run a half marathon PB that day.
And there was that marathon that we covered a couple of weeks ago. Was it Leicester? Some people might hear.
They got sent
but they got sent the wrong way, and they ended up running just through the open streets with cars kind of going past them as well. And they kind of realised, well, what on earth's going on here?
Imagine if you ran a PB
that's adjustment, isn't it? So whether stuff like that happening, that's adjusting your goals in lifetime.
One of your process goals might be that you're gonna, you've got your plan. I'm gonna go through my warm up routine. I'm gonna go through my timings. I'm gonna tick all of those boxes, but I'm also like prepared to be flexible. And so I've practiced being being adaptable at training, and just some things are out of your control. You're not going to have the access to stuff that you wanted to do. So, but the main thing from our perspective, and like you've mentioned it there, like chasing PBs is a challenge and it's exciting, but also people don't always do it. Like you don't hit your targets every single time, even though your social media feed looks like everyone's getting PBs every week, unless you've been following
Rick.
No, I was going to say official and unofficial, because people might be saying they've got PBs.
Oh my God, did you see the one the other day where someone got a tattoo of their time?
Of their Strava time, not of their chip time?
Yeah.
Wow.
And apparently it wasn't the first time that it happened. And
So
they've literally called
erroneous
this
tattoos.
person
Sounds
out.
like a really
and they've
bad
got,
idea.
they've got a strap.
Yeah.
They've got it tattooed on them.
Can we touch on burnout? Andy, you've talked about this before, when you realised you were burning out, but it took you a few weeks before you clocked exactly what was going on.
Yeah, it comes back to there was periods of my career when it becomes, everyone in here is listening to the podcast loves running or has a love-hate relationship with running. You don't love it every day, but you're doing it because it's something that gives you that sense of achievement or improvement or whatever it might be. But then when it becomes your job, and it's not the same, it's not the elite level, but it is our job from a running channel perspective, so that adds extra pressure. And that means that some days it's not fun.
Yeah, like you're technically, Rick, a professional runner.
Sorry?
I know. Mind-blowing, isn't it?
This is turning into the best night of my life.
Yeah, but I know what you mean. And I feel like as well, it's kind of become just normal for people to go from training block to training block to training block. And even if you do have recovery time in between, it's still like a big mental load to go, okay, regroup. I'm focusing on this next. Off I go. So many people race back to back to back to back to back. Yeah. And one thing that I would love, and that's why I've really enjoyed us doing the Pledge a PB campaign that we did January, February, is I feel like the 5K is underlooked nowadays.
Yeah.
Because so many people just like throw in a 5K PB during another training block. And I'm like, that is great.
You think it's underlooked but loads of people do 5Ks.
Yeah, but I just feel like sometimes it's like, yeah, just knock out 5K PB
I mean, they don't actually
in
go
my
into
marathon training block.
A 5K training block.
Yeah. Well, so sometimes it's just like, oh, I'm training for this marathon, smash my 5K PB. Oh, I'm just going to turn up and smash this out, which is fine. But I feel like if you do that loads, then you might get to the end of loads of different races and be just feeling a little bit like, oh, I don't really know what to do next.
Yeah, and the 5K is interesting because I think if you wanted to run your best ever 5K, it's not the case of doing like a 10 or 12 week training block and then running the 5K and that's going to be the best that you can run. Elite athletes, and when I was running the first race of the season, even though I've been training solidly for like 6 or 9 months before doing it, it's like, well, that felt awful.
Yep, that's 5K.
Yeah. Well, it feels awful anyway, but then if you do another one 2 weeks later, you'll be better. And not many people probably give themselves or afford themselves that chance. It's all built up to one effort because that's kind of the only crack you get at a marathon.
Yeah.
But the 5K, to a lesser extent the 10K, but certainly 5K and shorter distances, you can run quite a few quite close together and you will get better. I wouldn't be saying doing them like 3 or 4 days apart. But yeah,
no, every few weeks. There's a race series near me that I want to do this year where you do the same course, same people entered. Yeah. I think it's like 3 weeks in a row over 5K, which I think sounds quite fun.
Yeah, and I think you'll probably find the second or third one you'll run faster.
Yeah.
Because you've sort of...
Maybe we should all do it fun.
Maybe.
Non-committal.
Yeah, non-committal. Yeah.
Non-committal.
Let's see how we go. We got along.
All right.
We got along.
But if someone does feel like they are getting a bit burnt out with racing, what are the like kind of warning signs?
It's training and racing, so you've got to have the motivation. And if the motivation starts to wane and you just don't want to do it, then just cut yourself some slack and be kind to yourself and take a little bit of time, a few weeks or maybe a month where you might still run, but remove the emphasis on pace and chasing stuff and just get the love back for it. Look at some fields. Have a stop in your run.
Look at some fields.
Yeah.
I feel like guilt's a big one as well for me. That's when I know.
What, guilt of
like missing a session, feeling really guilty, or like not doing a rest day well enough, feeling really guilty.
Yeah, but doesn't your guilt just come from, oh, I've missed a day, that means I might not be able to do it?
Yeah, but that for me is a surefire sign that I need to chill out and take some time off.
But then the training plan's there for a reason.
Get into bed, get a jammy dodger, Diddy version.
There you go.
Have a nice time.
Yeah, at least get out of bed to do it.
To do the training?
No, to eat the jammy dodger.
To eat the jammy dodger? No,
yeah.
Never.
That's fair enough. But yeah, there'll also be physiological things. So your heart rate might be higher. Or you might just find you just can't hit the paces that you're used to doing. Or even worse, you're trying to hit the paces and your heart rate won't come up at all. We talked about this recently. That's a surefire sign of overtraining. Like you might start to obsess about stuff too much and it just becomes unhealthy. And obviously there's a fine line between having a healthy relationship with both running and then often runners and food and all of that sort of stuff. Like when the anxiety takes over as well, then that's going to be potentially symptomatic of burnout. And just like it should be fun, like not all of the time.
Yeah.
If you want to really run your absolute best, then you're going to have to dig deep on some days when you don't want to do it. But most of the time, it should be something you're like, well, I've chosen to do this. I've paid money to enter this race.
And I think for a lot of people, that's like how we got into running as well. We just absolutely love the feeling that it gives us. And that's something that aligns really well as well with ASICS messaging.
ASICS literally stands for Anima Sana in Corpore Sano in Latin, a sound mind and a sound body. Whenever we've talked about ASICS supporting us out at the Olympics, we've talked about how they're a caregiver brand that look after all of their elite athletes and how ultimately they encourage people to move your body, to move your mind. And that's the bit we're trying to hark back to here, is that running should be fun. And actually, if you are having a bad day, then don't think about a personal best. Just get out and move. And like if that movement becomes running, even better. And then you very rarely regret a run that you've done, but you do definitely regret the runs that you haven't done.
Yeah, I actually last wore these trainers in Tokyo, and then the one bit of dirt I've got on them is actually from Yoyogi Park.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
pretty cool.
You're so proud of that, aren't you?
It's the last time you did any meaningful training.
But you did actually. But you
He
did.
doesn't listen, does he?
You did actually get out though and do it, and I believe it was on day 10 of the
Oh,
trip
it took you 10
that we
full
were on.
days.
The day before
And
we
you
flew
know
home.
what?
Yeah.
The day that you went out and moved your body, it proved the science that
know what's coming?
just 15 minutes can put you in a better headspace, and it made
that
you a
is true.
lot nicer to be around. Let me tell you that.
Oh, right.
Right, we are going to take some questions from you guys.
Hi, I'm Jill, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Awesome.
I'm
I
thrilled
love
to
it.
be
That's
here.
the first time we've had someone say that.
Hello.
Hello, club member. Just smashed my pledge of PB.
Oh, even better.
But I have a question about 5K pacing because I always listen to the advice that you shouldn't go out too fast.
Yes.
But our regular park run has a downhill first 1K
Yeah.
and an uphill last 4 to 5K.
Yes.
So if you don't go out reasonably
400
fast, you're
meters.
going to collapse and want to cry by 4th to 5th K.
Yeah.
Second K is also a little bit uphill. Third is slightly down.
Yeah.
But when you hit that 4th and you're just facing an uphill battle the rest of the way, it's kind of hard to think about, well, if I don't go out fast on the first K,
Yeah.
I'm giving away too much time in that first K and
Yeah.
I won't be able to get it on the 5th.
Can I jump in?
Sarah's going in.
Just come to my park run. It's just uphill all the way.
It's a moderate rise.
So this
Absolutely
reminds
not.
me of at my running club last year.
Do you remember a running club?
I am a member of a running
Yeah.
club. Yes.
You should talk about it more.
We had a 10K series, and there was this one 10K series round Epping, and I'd never done it before. I'd never done any of these 10K races before, and there was this downhill section, and I tell you, I have never seen a downhill like it. It was the steepest downhill that I've ever seen in my life.
Steeper than Rick's Park Run is uphill.
Anything is.
Yeah.
And
Ice
I
picks.
flew. Like I
Yeah.
flew down this hill, and it was about 3K in, I want to
Yeah.
say, to a 9K race. And I was like, this is so good. I've banked so much time. I'm probably going to run a PB. The amount of lactate that I built up in my legs and the amount of force that I put through
interesting.
I hit 340 per kilometre pace going down this
In a 10K?
hill.
Gosh.
In a 10K.
Yeah.
Which I thought
I think we can all agree that.
gravity is doing its job. This is going to be lovely. I'll get a lovely fast time.
Yeah.
My legs, not happy.
They
The
didn't like it.
DOMs, worst I've ever experienced.
Okay. Did that answer the question?
Well, I had a nice
I'm
time.
glad you're picking on hair as well.
Yeah.
I've actually only ever hit 340 pace falling down them stairs.
I think that you can bank a little bit of time on the downhill. I think you've got to try, and it's really hard in that first K because you've got all of the adrenaline. So it's really, because what I would say is if there was a downhill later in the course, then you've got to go on the feel. So if this was true of a 10K or a marathon or whatever, when you do on a downhill section, you can run at the same effort. So that might be able to measure by heart rate or power or something like that, because then you're not going to put yourself in trouble. The problem with the first K of a 5K is you've got the adrenaline, so it feels easy anyway, or easier, and everyone goes off like a lunatic. So I
Maybe
think-
you could do some maths with it. So if you work out how much slower you are on the uphill bit at the end,
Yeah.
and then take that time off, then take that away from the average pace that you're averaging for the flat bits, and then add that to the downhill bit at the start.
I think if this was
You
like,
might
if
have
this
a
was
great
if this
pacing
is a-
strategy
If this clip is on the internet, there's definitely that beautiful mind scene.
Yeah. Is she still talking?
in
Right,
the-
here we
in the
go. Here we
background.
go.
There's
Here we
also,
go.
as you said, you could do some maths. There was an audible several snorts from the audience.
Hey, I said you, not me.
So you could bank a little bit, but not too much.
Hi, my name is Johan. I've just got a question for you. As an older runner, what happens with your motivation when you can't do the PBs anymore? Because there is going to be a point where you're going to max out and it's just going to be impossible to get your PBs.
Not for Rick, because he ages backwards. But for the rest of us.
So I've decided when I started running, PB is not going to be my thing. I don't do PBs. PBs is something that happens by accident. I run for experience. But if I look at the running influences and stuff, it's all about the PBs. And it concerns me that they're going to stop at one stage because it's going to be becoming impossible.
Yeah, where do you go
I
next?
love this.
Yeah.
I was going to talk about this earlier. Yeah, I am desperate to have a window into the future and pick out every single 20-something influencer and see what they're doing when they're like 50, 60, 70 years old. You're not desperate to know. One,
I would
people
love to
still going to
see
be
what you look
influenced?
like at 50 or 60 years old.
Well, if I take
Well, you
Rick's
just want-
advice,
you just want-
exactly like this.
Frozen.
Collagen. So I spoke to someone recently who had
Andy's loving this.
two
Look at him.
options.
Look at him just
I spoke to
giggling
someone
away.
recently who is because the hard thing is that I feel like people are motivated in different ways. Either you're motivated by training, chasing a goal, trying to get a little bit faster, in which case someone gave me a great tip, which is every year they try and set a PB. So January 1st, they will run a 5K or 10K or whatever kind of distance they want to do.
Yeah, like if you could have the equivalent of the age grading on parkrun, but like on your best times on
Yeah,
Strava. Oh,
that
there's
would be
lots and
cool.
lots. We've come up. We should.
We should.
Can we
Let's
just
keep that between us.
Yeah.
Okay.
That is a
That
technological
is a
advance.
patent.
Oh, we can make that happen.
Okay.
Have we got the power to make that happen?
No idea. Sounds mathsy. Won't be strong. But the other thing that I was going to say as well is that there are so many. The beautiful thing about running is there are so many different distances. There are so many different races.
Yeah.
There are so many different things. So most people right now in the running world are chasing the flattest race possible. Some people in America are chasing downhill marathons. So keep an eye out for that on
Yeah, there's
social
one in
media.
Spain as well. That's quoted
So
to be
if
the
you
fastest.
see someone who shaves 30 minutes off, chances are their marathon was downhill. But there will always be a different type of race. So whether you can get into different distances, trail running, cross country, like there are so many different things that I think can motivate you to, okay, well, I'm going to go back to Marathon Iriri every year, for example.
Or Sarah may have mentioned it that she's a member of a running club. Then you can go.
Whoop, whoop.
A lot of running clubs have races where you can score for your team, or they have mob matches where it doesn't matter how fast you're running, just like the numbers count. So then you can be contributing in a race environment, cross country or 10K, whatever it might be, where the time is completely irrelevant. But also I'm in the same boat. Like I can't run the times that I ran 10 or 15 years ago and never will be able to. And so it's either year by year for me. So what's the fastest time I can run each year in an event? Or more recently I've become, we were talking about it recently, about interested in the masters age group. So the 5-year vets categories. So next year I'll be V45. That'll be my first year at V45. And obviously the first year that you're in a category is your opportunity to run the fastest, probably because you're the youngest.
And you've swapped your stats from miles to kilometres.
Yes. So everything that I do now, I used to run all of my runs in miles, minutes per mile. Now I do minutes per kilometres because it sort of doesn't sound the same. Rick would like us to wrap up and go on to the next question.
No, we're answering meaningfully and diligently.
He hates the fact that he's got no control.
Hello, so I'm from Leicester, and thank you for bringing that up. So I was running Leicester 10K last year.
Oh, yeah.
And I did go off course. Yes. So my question is basically, you feel pressured when you see your friends running faster than you, especially on Strava. So how do you stay calm and keep focusing on your goals and pace, to meet the pace that you want for your half marathon or full marathon?
Great question.
Yeah, it's a really good. I mean, this happens all of the time. I'm friends with, like, I follow a lot of different people on Strava. Unlike Rick, who I think follows one person on Strava.
Do you follow anyone on Strava?
No, I follow both of you two.
You follow me?
Yeah,
You
both
never
of you.
give me kudos.
I added you.
Yeah.
I added you about an hour ago, just in case it came up.
Wow. So
What?
yeah, this is great. We also on a recent episode of the club podcast, we all used a piece of AI software called Roast My Strava.
Oh, that
I
was awful.
still think
Which-
so. Rick very quickly ran out of free goes on this AI roast, and I wonder if it's because he didn't like what it was saying.
Yeah, he was like, yeah, it doesn't work anymore. He wouldn't
Doesn't
share
work,
it.
ran out of
wouldn't
goes.
share
Gonna
it
have
to
to
us.
try tomorrow. Never mind.
If you haven't tried it yet, try Roast by Strava.
I think it's
Who's tried it?
roastmystrava.com.
It is good.
Okay, not
but
many. Try it on the way home.
Friends being faster than you. So I have a lot of friends who are faster than me. I do all of my long runs at the moment with someone who is way, way faster than me. But I personally, what I look at is like how much you can compare. Like, okay, how
I'll
much
drop
time.
back tomorrow. I'll drop back a bit.
Thanks,
Drop
mate.
back a bit.
Thanks, mate.
She definitely wasn't talking
Or
about
is it
you.
Andy?
He's not my friend.
Oh,
Joking.
heartbroken.
He's my boss.
So we're best friends, right?
So best friends.
Yeah. Should we hang out after this?
Yeah, sure. Whatever you want. Do you want to give your answer?
Same thing. I follow a bunch of you guys that I meet at various events on Strava, but I also follow guys that are still in their 20s and training at the elite level because I'm interested to see. I might have either met them, trained with them briefly, they might be coached by my coach. And so that's a challenge because when I see that, I'm like, oh, I used to be able to do that. And I will never be able to do that again. I'm not going to be able to run a 100-mile week, and I'm not going to be able to run. One of the guys I was looking at the other day did a long run in prep for a marathon they're doing soon, and they ran 24 or 25 miles at 5:20 miling, like looking easy, because that is slightly slower than their race pace. And as a pro, that doesn't take them that long. It's only just over 2 hours, so they can do that. And I'm like, oh, but I have to remember the same thing that I always told people when I was training with them, which was that it's really easy to look around and see other people training, but it just has no bearing on what you're doing. You don't know what run they've done the day before, unless you're going to have an exhaustive Strava stalk of their entire training plan.
Also, you can compare. Sometimes I compare what other people are doing and think like, do I actually want to do that? Like if you look at how many hours they're training for, or like how many things they're sacrificing, it's like, well, no, I'm all right.
Yeah,
like,
when you've got your biscuits in bed, you're thinking...
Well, like you, for example, you run far further than me every single week, but I think we actually run for a similar amount of hours.
Yes.
So I just take peace with the fact that like we're the same.
And also some days it's just totally different. I used to have a run I did that was my 1 hour run, and some days it would take me 50 minutes and other days it would take me an hour and 5 minutes. So hopefully that's helpful.
Hi, this is Olivia. Andy, you said early on, when you feel good, you run better. But you have done 2 marathons now, and you probably have the moment that you don't feel good, your legs were heavy, and you are not feeling particularly well, particularly the last one you broadcast, you said you had to stop to stretch your legs and things like that. So what do you do to encourage yourself at that moment to get going? Because you really want to finish it and finish in the goal that you set for.
Exactly what you said there, really, almost. When it gets tough and I want to stop, and then I think about, well, with a young family, marathon training is a fairly selfish endeavor, or like I'm fitting around a whole bunch of other stuff.
Completely. I might knock it on the head.
What, the parenting? you already do so little of it.
So harsh. My wife's sitting there. She's not.
No, she's doing the parenting.
She's doing the parenting. yeah.
Absolute
Did
joke.
you say your mum's around at the moment?
She's down, yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
So you're
Just
actually
here.
doing nothing at all. You've got two people at home looking after the 2 children.
You sound so bitter.
Pathetic.
So
Where are your kids right
Yeah.
now, Andy?
Oh, well, my lovely wife is looking after them.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. Question.
I totally forgot it. Oh, yeah. It takes a lot of time away from what I would, potentially like to be doing, some of the kids' activities, or I've got up at stupid o'clock in the morning to do it so that I can then do those activities. So then when I'm in the moment, I'm thinking, well, this is going to end soon. And I don't want to get to the finish line ultimately thinking, oh, but what if I just tried a bit harder, or what if I just gathered my thoughts for 30 seconds and then went again? And so broadly, it's not, I'm not trying to guilt myself into it. I'm more saying that's the motivation. That's the reason for doing it. And that would have been in my career as well. Like, I don't want to finish and go, I could have done that better. So in that moment, I'm trying to make the best decision, which is like, right now I might need to walk and stretch my cramp off, or I need to take a gel or whatever it might be. But then I'm just like, right, okay, I'm going to be the best me for the next minute, and then the next 2 minutes, and then the next 10 minutes. And I'm just going to take it a little bit at a time.
Do you think as well, I think actually most of the time it's better to have an almost perfect race than a perfect race, because sometimes if you have a race where just everything goes perfectly, you wouldn't have changed a thing.
You can't better
You
it.
don't feel as motivated to go into the next block. Whereas I think that's sometimes what we're chasing is that like, oh, I would have done that differently, or maybe I should do this next.
Would be nice though, wouldn't it? Just
Well,
to run the perfect
Yeah.
race.
yeah, well,
And I think that when that's happened to me once or twice in an entire career of running. And the annoying thing is
Oslo.
Yes, Oslo would be one of them. Yeah, but
See?
the Dream Mile, you can watch it on YouTube.
boring. But I couldn't tell you what happened. Like, I can sort of
tell you what
remember
went
bits of it, but I couldn't
correct.
tell you what I did.
What went
I
right,
think
yeah.
you're in that. Like, people talk about flow state, and I think when it is perfect, it's frustrating because afterwards you've got the perfect result, but you sort of don't have the same attritional experience of having to battle
exactly.
through these
You've done it.
things.
You just have the fear of like, okay, what did I do that I
Yeah.
need to do next
Yeah, how
time
am I
to
going to
make
replicate
that?
this thing that now has just happened magically once or twice?
Right. Well, thank you so much for listening to us. Thank you to ASICS for having us. And thanks to you, our audience, for coming to the Running Channel podcast live. Thank you.
Woo!